Welcome back to the Emerald Knight, Part 14, Ocean of Fire Reprise. In this part, I felt it was important to let Aranthis get some alone time. It's also fascinating that Part 13 ended the way it did with Aranthis looking at herself, and then there's like a bit of a tender sadness right there at the end of Part 13. And it feels sort of like a closing to a scene already, but then Part 14 picks it back up and carries it on to like a second closing. And that's a interesting effect, perhaps caused by the episodic nature of working title. I wasn't very conscious of it, of picking right up from the end of Part 13. Before writing Part 14, I wanted to let Aranthis get some alone time and things occur. But in writing this part, I wasn't so concerned with Part 13 at all. And I wonder how this episodic work may affect the Emerald Knight in the future. Also, in writing this part, I felt things were going a little too fast, meaning like the pacing of things and how everything was expressed so succinctly, minusculely, because like the subject matter and the way it's expressed in this part is a little more poetic in nature as compared with previous scenes. I feel like this is probably the most poetic part of the whole story so far, and therefore, well, as in trying to bring that stuff out, I feel like it would need more time with it to really find the connection and the meaning and stuff like that. But something like that could be cleaned up and made better in revision. And from now on, instead of saying, should I revise this story, I'm just going to say, in revision, or something along those lines. In this part as well, I bring back the Ocean of Fire symbolism motif. It's more symbolism in this part. But I wasn't initially anticipating it, but as I was writing, as I was going along, and was getting into this sort of emotional turmoil sort of thing, and having the opportunity, now that Aranthis is alone, to really have her time with it, I felt it was a good opportunity as well to bring that back and bring out a sort of culminating symbolism with the Ocean of Fire, similar to previous moments of Aranthis feeling that smog in her body and the fire in her body, but now it's this ocean of fire that can't be quenched or put out or whatever. As well here, these memories, I feel that they're a little too cliche and too sunshiny, so to speak. Like they have an essence of perfect family, and I feel it's a missed opportunity to really bring out, even though I describe her brother as being a brat, like, I feel like it should be more relatable in the sense of this isn't a perfect family. There's just something that feels a little disingenuous about this perfect family, but as well, I feel like it's a missed opportunity to introduce like night elf culture or lore. In revision, I would want to try and weave that in as I could. This paragraph right here, I struggled with it. In this paragraph, I was trying to bring out the or express like the culmination of this ocean of fire symbolism, like the climax, if you will, of what the symbolism is doing or means within Aranthus. As of now, everything is fenced off because I'm not sure how I want to express it. But at least I got the idea across. This is something that I want to include in the story. Something that I feel would be neat. But I thought the detail about the stinking eyes of coal would be an important thing to include somewhere or other in that paragraph. The lockbox, I go into describing its look and design, and on top of being something to look at, neat to look at, it's a sort of culture building sort of thing, weaving in some culture and some world building, even though it's minuscule. But like the armor on Corwin Knight, on the Corwin guard armor, it resembles that. I was debating on whether or not to put a different like deity or constellation on it, but I didn't want to use up my writing time to come up with that, so I just went with the snake. Maybe in revision I'll change that, I'm not sure. But for now, it's the snake and the constellation of the snake. Here's where I begin to go in, really talking about Aranthus's aunt and how she taught her magic. I feel that as of right now, her aunt is more important than her immediate family. At least it comes off that way in the writing. As of right now, we know more about the aunt than her other family members, generally speaking. And it makes her aunt come off as more important, especially with teaching her magic. And I debated on whether or not I should make the aunt be the one to teach her magic and not a more immediate family member, to give them more importance as well. But in essence, what I'm trying to get across is that later on, or down the road in the story, I will have to, now that I've included this aunt who taught Aranthus magic, at least the basics, I will have to include more substance with her immediate family to give them more importance to her. and that can be expressed through memory, or in the decisions that Aranthis makes in thinking about the decisions her family members have made in the past, or maybe other skills that Aranthis has. And this sort of thing as well, I think the major thing I wanted to, the major reason why I wanted to go with her aunt being the one to teach her magic was because, not everybody in this world knows magic. Subconsciously, I believe the reader would pick up on that in reading this part. And I like the idea of not everybody knowing magic, and it's a skill that takes a lot of time and effort to really, learn and be able to do. If anything, I would, if I were to make a different family member be the one to teach Aranthis magic, I would make it her mother, but I thought I wanted Aranthis to just really know the basics of magic, like be sort of a novice. I thought that would be a good character building sort of thing to work throughout this story. If her mother knew all the magic, then she'd probably be better than what she is at it. But I also want to try and see in what other ways Aranthis's mother can could have carried on important skills and knowledge to Aranthis as we work through the story. Like, maybe she's the one who taught her alchemy or something. I don't know. Just a quick note. The paragraph at the top where it says, her aunt's books now all burned, her tools now useless. Those are supposed to be in parentheses. I feel like it's intuitive which sets of parentheses I am using to fence off portions of the story or fence off certain words. Fence off in that, I'm unsure, I'm pretty unsure about the wording or how to express something in that moment, as opposed to portions of a sentence or what have you that are in parentheses to be used grammatically as parentheses. But in talking about taking time, I find myself wanting to slow down to bring out the more tender, meaningful, more poetic, symbolic ways of expressing or communicating a story, a more unique way of communicating the story, rather than this is what happened. But of course, with the nature of working title, I try to keep the pace going, keep me writing. About 2 years ago, there was a scene I had written between two characters. One was a boy about 13, the other one's a mother figure. And in the scene, as the mother figure is hanging laundry, the boy is asking her questions about relationships, to the point of where he asks, how can two people who care so much about each other screw each other's over so often? Meaning, talking about bad relationships. And she's giving him like vague and brushy, offy kind of answers, and that bothers him. Little did he know that someone may be eavesdropping, and that's why she's talking that way. But by the end of the scene, as the boy gets a little heated about it, the mother figure is like, okay, I gotta take some time with this kid. And she sits on a staircase and pats the empty spot next to her. And he goes and sits. And she leans on him in a hug kind of way. And says some, I don't remember everything that they say, but she says something along the lines of, you know, sometimes people do things out of jealousy, anger, fear. And there's an implication that she says that there needs to be time away from the relationship in order to recover, especially since he was talking about like effects of a bad relationship. And he just it kind of hits him, and he's like, time heals all wounds, yeah? And then she just sighs and says, or so I've heard. The implication being that she has also been hurt. But that sort of thing was found because I took my time with it. But that's all I have time for in part 14. Thank you.